Yes, welcome to the Vanguard Show on podcast. Today's episode number 38, and we have a very special guest, Brother Ross Ceylon. He's a recording artist, hip hop guru, revolutionary activist, and educator as well. And he's been able to masterfully merge his art activism with his artistry. So, again, brother, thanks for coming on. I see this blinking, but we're going to keep it rolling.
Right.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good to be on with you, comrade. Definitely love all the work that you do. So I'm excited to add on and build.
Thank you, man. And you just got back from Hawaii. Tell me about how that trip went, and then the Huey P. Newton performance birthday. Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
no doubt, no doubt. It's been a lot going on. Last weekend we was out in Hawaii. That's right, on the island of Oahu. We had a performance out there, and with some of my reggae brethren and some of the same brothers, man, came out here on Friday, and we had a show in Oakland. It's called the Black and Proud concert series, done by my man Anthony B, as well as Perfect Gitamani, Turbulence. It's a lot of these pretty high caliber dancehall artists. Came out here. But at the same time, there was also the start of the Black Solidarity Week kickoff through CRC, and so we were at the Mr. Dr. Huey P. Newton Research Center for Action downtown, where they showed a film screening of Judas and Black Messiah. But you had Ryan Coogler there, the writer and the director, in conversation with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., Mama Comrade Akua and Jerry, and Frederica Newton and Field Marshal Turha. So it was really powerful.
Right on, man. Wow. Well, brother, I have to regard you as not only, they used to say James Brown, the hardest working man in soul, but you got to be one of the hardest working men in hip hop and activism, man, because you everywhere. I mean, I
Man,
see
I
you in
appreciate it, brother.
Hawaii. I see you in the Bay. I see you in Chicago. I see you in the Bronx. Brother, what gives you the energy and the creative juices, man, to keep going from an activist perspective and also, from your artistry?
Yeah, right on. And to be honest, brother, I don't even look at it like as something that I need to rev my engines to do. In many ways, it's just it's a lifestyle, right? Where we've been engaged in struggle and organizing for so long, and music making as well for so long, so many decades now, that it pretty much is second nature. When you get that call and like, yo, we need you here, we need you to do this or that, I just take heed to the calls, and so a lot of times it may appear that we are planning these moves and really, trying to strategically do all these things ahead of time, but really, more often than not, it's kind of the natural progression and natural flow of whatever particular phenomenon we're identifying. It just moves like that. And so for me, I get energy from the movement. I get energy from being active, and so I'll always have God willing, if I have the energy, man, I'll always have it to give to the people, to the cause, because ultimately that's what we're here for, man. That's what this life is about, trying to make the change while we're here, you know what I mean? So I definitely try to utilize the 24 hours in the day and 7 days in the week, you know what I'm saying?
Well, brother, obviously COINTEL is real because this show don't want us to do this.
Yeah, this is crazy. It
but
looks wild. It looks like some psychedelic type, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's going on.
We'll just keep it rolling, man. But
all right, no doubt. They got
I
the
was
audio.
honored. I was honored to meet you in Oakland along with your comrades, crew, and loved ones, man. And I didn't have a time. I was headed somewhere else to visit a disabled friend of mine in
Right,
San
right.
Francisco. But man, it's such an honor to see your growth, your also, your travel, your accomplishments, and this latest accomplishment, especially, man, the album. Tell us about the album. The title, "To Serve the People." I understand it, but kind of give a insight on the title, and let's talk
Yes.
about some of the material in it.
Right on, right on. Well, here's the Vanguard Show. I'm sure y'all very familiar with the term "serving of the people" and even the term "to serve the people," right?
Right
As we know, Minister Huey P. Newton was known as the supreme servant of the people, and in many ways, again, on the heels of his 81st birthday right now, in many ways, this album is inspired by him, the legacy of the party and the work itself, right? And so for me, what happened was, I've been making music for a long time, since the late 90s, and releasing music since that time, making music since the mid 90s. And basically, in the past 5-7 years, I kind of took a little bit of a break in terms of really focusing on music, and was really more doing the work, so to speak, with organizing and education. And then what happened was, in the year 2022, all of a sudden, I had a moment where it was like the floodgates just opened up again in terms of the music.
Okay.
And I made more music last year than I had in the previous 7 to 10 years,
Wow.
And most times just put me in position, man, where it's like linking with a lot of brothers I grew up listening to, some of the Wu-Tang brothers, start working with some of them cats, and it was just really really significant. And so the music that started coming out, though, as I was writing and recording, it was all political, for the most part. I'm talking about the work that we've been doing in the community. It was just coming out in the music very, very naturally, very organic. It wasn't, again, like I was trying to, or I need to get this message out. Nah, it was like, this is what was flowing out, And so ultimately, as we were putting it together, I was like, I want to drop this album to serve the people in the year 2022. We put it out in December, and that was strategic as well, because pretty much all the music on that album was recorded that year. So it really does kind of capture the essence. But it's interesting. I was listening to or reading a review of the album the other day, and people were saying it kind of, the reviewer was saying it kind of captures a lot of what's been happening in the past 2 or 3 years. In terms of politically, economically and socially, man, for the people. So really trying to address the revolutionary times we're living in.
Oh, right on, man. And I want to get to some of them. Rebel on the Roof, brother. I mean, fire. I mean, it takes me back to the energy of Full Metal Jacket song you had back in the day.
Right on. Yeah.
And kind of talk about some of the title. I know I should say Rebel on the Roof. You got Revolutionary Love. I mean, Lincoln Love. I want to get how you brought it home, man. And especially while my screen is not acting up now. So
right. Beautiful. Yeah, right on. Well, Rebel on the Roof, folks can check out the video. We shot a video for that here in West Oakland as well. And it's featuring Prodigal Son from Sons of Man, who was the first group to come out of Wu-Tang, So it was actually really organic the way we did it. We kind of recreated the making of the song in the video. So essentially, Wu-Tang was out here. They were doing a Wu-Wear pop-up shop. Excuse my cat.
Oh, that's all right. All right.
This cat always trying to get in the Zoom shots. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I'm on,
looks like a little panther came up, man.
Yeah,
right on.
That's but yeah, so these brothers were in town, and I basically had some connections with them. So I ended up taking them from Frisco to Oakland and showing them some of the historical sites. The stomping grounds of the party, the UNIA building, and of course the Minister Huey P. Newton statue on Mandela and 9th that is now up there, the memorial bust. And that's where we shot part of the video as well. And so that song, as you can hear, it's kind of got almost like a 70s feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got that
funk, and then we recorded part of the video at the also at the Stax Record Shop, which is my people's record shop in Hayward, actually selling vinyl records, and we had the B-boys in there breakdancing, you know what I'm saying? And so it really was about, kind of capturing the essence of hip hop culture, but also wedding it to the revolutionary culture that is currently in more vogue than it was a few years ago. You know what I mean? So Rebel on the Roof was definitely on that note. Revolutionary Love, I think that one was, in many ways, I just performed that the other night at a reggae show, and it really got a good reception. It's kind of got that up-tempo kind of feel. But the content, I'm talking about, I'm living in strange days, an era of rebellion, uprising in the streets, people dying by the millions, worldwide genocide and a global pandemic, depopulating the planet with biological patents. It's all political and economical planet. People tend to panic if they can't understand it. It's been a war, you know what I'm saying?
Right
so,
on.
we put in the bars in there, man, keeping it straight ahead. And so the fact that people are resonating with it is beautiful. At the beginning of Revolutionary Love, you hear a little snippet of Chairman Fred speaking, saying free Mumia, free them all. That's him speaking at Mumia Abu Jamal's birthday celebration, April 24th in Philly last year. You know what I'm saying? And so, matter of fact, Chairman Fred was part of ILWU shutting down of the ports this past Friday in honor of Mumia. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
the beautiful thing is, man, is like we really try to make it so each song, because we're putting the content in there, we can tie it to campaigns that are going on. We can always tie it into whatever the particular phenomenon that's happening right now. There's some relevant stuff in there. And so you had also mentioned One Lock in Love. For those viewers and listeners who aren't familiar, in 2013, I was actually my music was banned from the government, or banned from the radio waves by the government of Sri Lanka. And it wasn't like I had any crazy music on there, but it's just the political climate there is very repressive, and it's coming off the heels of a 27-year civil war.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of energy around suppressing any kind of thought that would that try to unify the masses of people. And that's pretty much what I was pushing with my song Sri Lanka. And eventually that same government, the same exact family, matter of fact, when I name them by name, the ones that had banned my music, they eventually got ran out of the office this past summer of 2022 through nationwide protests,
Wow.
and it was pretty significant. And according to some of my people on the ground there, they were playing my band song at some of the protests. You know what I mean? So,
right on.
And then I had a comrade of mine, Rude Boy Shiraz, who actually he passed away at the protest. Like immediately, wow. He was performing on stage, and then he passed away like right after performing, like collapsed on stage. You know what I'm saying? And he's someone I used to,
man. Yeah,
right on. Appreciate that, man. So in many ways, this song is livicated to his memory. It's also, something for the people out there to feel good about, the fact that they did make that change and got rid of that corrupt regime, you know what I'm saying? And now, I definitely appreciate that, because hopefully I can return one day safely, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully soon.
Oh, right on, man. And again, brother, I was able to download as soon as you released it. I downloaded the entire album as well as that video. Where you said Rebel on the Roof? Where was that shot at? You said it was Oakland, right there in Oakland?
Yeah. So part of it is the studio piece was in downtown Oakland at my man Just J Studio. That's the producer who made the beat and did the scratches. And then we went to Stax Record Store in Hayward, and then we end the video at the Minister Huey Memorial Bus right there in West Oakland. You know what I mean?
Right on.
But yeah, brother Malik, I always appreciate your support. You know what I mean? Because we know who is actually, you know what I mean, promoting, reposting, all that stuff means a lot. There's so much, there's so many things for people to click on that sometimes as artists, it gets frustrating if we don't have a big budget behind us or some way to get the music out there. We really do depend on the grassroots promotion and support. So I always appreciate that, brother. I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure, man. And again, I really appreciate and respect you, man, for what you do.
Right
and brother, you are so Oakland. But did you grow up in Oakland? And how has Oakland influenced you? Because there's a heavy music legacy there. There's a heavy activism. So talk about some of that.
No question. So I actually didn't grow up in Oakland. I grew up in Southern California, but I always had family up here. So I'd visit my whole life growing up. I had cousins and aunties, and, my sister ended up moving to the Bay early on. And so for me, being in Southern Cali, but then visiting here a lot, I always kind of had my eye on the Bay. Like it was a place where I always felt, especially in the 80s and 90s, there was a little bit more culture up here, more widespread, I should say, than in Southern Cali and LA, Right. And so for me, it was like always kind of a goal, like, man, if I could get to the Bay, I'm going to do that. Right. And so it was kind of after high school, I had put out an album. I was neck deep in the music, but I was like, I didn't get good grades in high school. I got C's or whatever, but I was like, I applied to one college, and the college I applied to was San Francisco State, which I happened to get into. So I ended up moving from Santa Ana, to Frisco State, and have been here ever since. And so and then I stayed a year in Frisco State in the dorms, and then moved immediately over to Oakland, and spent the rest of my time at SF State commuting from Oakland. And man, I've lived all over the town, man, from North Oakland to West Oakland to East Oakland, and in many ways, I've been like adopted by the city, and I could say it's my 45 years, like the years that really kind of brought me into my adulthood, man, was all here. And I've helped to humbly helped to raise up a few generations out here through the education work, and through the mentoring that we do and stuff. And man, there's no place like Oakland. It's really, I was just thinking about it recently, every time I look online, I hear people like complaining about it, like, oh man, what's going on in Oakland, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. It's tough, and conditions have been crazy, particularly under this last mayoral regime, which is real whack. But at the same time, man, you can't get rid of that Panther blood in there, that funk. You know what I'm saying? That Raiders, that war, that it's just a certain vibe in Oakland, man. The legacy is so thick, particularly with the party. You know what I mean? But even it goes back to Marcus Garvey's days. The old UNIA building is still there. You know what I mean? Like, as you mentioned with the music, shoot, I'm wearing a doper. I'm wearing Mr. Fab's clothes right here. Like, you know what I mean? But we, even though I always tell them you need to push more of that Hope era, because that's the stuff I was really supporting.
Right.
But there's so many connections, man, with the streets. From even the so-called street cats here are politicized and are up on game. And so yeah, Oakland is a special place, man. I have a song called Panther Town that I put out a couple years back with the Scary X, another Oakland legend, man. And yeah, though I don't say I'm from Oakland, right, my families and people from it be like, oh no, you Oakland, you from Oakland. So I technically don't say that, but right, the association is something I'll never deny, you know what I mean? Because again, like I said, this place made me who I am in many ways.
Right on, man. And you have such a distinctive voice, brother. I mean, I hear you, I mean, I hear, Muta Boruca, I hear Melly Mel, I hear even Ja Rule with the cadence, in terms of coming out, man. You have one of the unique voices in hip hop, man. How did that develop, man? I know people age and all of a sudden they change, but that voice, man, is very iconic.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. That actually means a lot, because to me, I don't know if you remember the song from Gangstar, Guru and Premier, where Guru said it's mostly the voice, right?
Right,
that was
right.
An old school song. Yeah. And I remember hearing that song, and that was around the time, 95, 94, 95, when I first started really writing raps. 96 is the first time I started recording. But like, I remember hearing that, right? Hearing Guru say that, and I took it seriously. Okay. You say if your voice ain't dope, then you got to chill. I was like, man, all right. So let me figure out how to make sure that my voice doesn't sound the same. There's something about it sounds a little different. You know what I mean? I think back then, shamefully, my teen years, probably smoking a lot of tobacco, man, a lot of Newports and BDs and all kinds of clothes and all kinds of madness. But to me, I was like, that's cool, man. It's gonna give me a raspy voice. You know
right.
But yeah, man. So since then, it's to me, the unique, to being unique and authentic, to me, that was always the important thing in hip hop. In my generation, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, yo, you had to do something that made yourself different, right? Whereas nowadays, I feel like a lot of times it's like, oh no, I need a this person type beat. I need to sound like this. But like in our days, it was like, nah, what can make you distinct? What can make you different, right? And so I think developing an authentic voice, man, was a really important part of that process. And salute to Guru, man. R.I.P. Guru Gangstar, man. He definitely inspired me with that song for sure.
Right on, man. We have to talk. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your comradeship and brotherhood with Fred Hampton Jr. and the grandson of Malcolm X, Brother Latif. Kind of talk about your relationship with them.
Man, yes, indeed. We'll start with the latter and go with the former. And so with El Haj Malcolm Latif El-Shabazz, is the grandson, namesake, and first male heir of Malcolm X, El Haj Malik Shabazz. And man, I first linked up with him when he had got out of the camps in about 2009, 2010. And he was a couple years younger than me, but I was instantly so impressed by his knowledge, by his public speaking ability. And in fact, I give him a lot of credit, because he would come to my concerts, I'd go to his events, and we'd be building, right? And I was very impressed by his speaking events. I'd be like, we talk about, techniques and how to kind of do a keynote type talk, right? Because I hadn't really done that before. And I give a lot of credit to any of my public speaking skills. If it's sounding good and stuff, man, I give credit to my little bro Malcolm, man, because he really did encourage me. He's like, basically to do the same type of thing that we do on the stage, but slow it down and do it with the music, man, or with the speaking as well as the music. And so Malcolm, he was a powerful young man. Unfortunately, definitely the powers that be, were after him. I even said in the song that I wrote after he was assassinated, called "Year of the Martyr," I said, the state made him a threat on the day he was born, because really that's what it was, you know what I mean? And the fact that he was able to accomplish what he was able to do in his short time on earth is powerful, because in many ways he was reaching out to the next generation and giving a spiritual evolution of where his grandfather left off in many ways, and so when his life was cut short, it had a major impact on me in 2013. It actually is something that drew me closer to the spirituality of Islam, and and so again, man, powerful force that was taken out way too soon. So long live Malcolm Shabazz, and we still say justice for Malcolm because we believe that was a hit. We believe that he was assassinated. And it's not a belief based on ignorance. It's based on knowledge, man. If you even look, his last public statement, and folks can Google it. If you Google Malcolm Shabazz last public statement, he talks about a character assassination before the physical assassination.
Wow.
And that was literally weeks before he was taken out. You know what I mean? And so, it's just a powerful force that will forever inspire me. Obviously, his grandfather's work is one of the first things that even brought me consciousness. I can recall reading the autobiography of Malcolm X at about 14 years old, and that light went off. And to this day, I've probably given away 12 to 15 copies of that book just to youngsters that I meet, just because I know how important it is. And nobody could speak about his grandfather the way he could. You know what I mean? It was really a phenomenon. And
and also from a personal perspective, before we talk about Fred Hampton Jr. I named myself Malik Ishmael. I was born something else, but because of the reading the autobiography and the influence on Malcolm, that's how I became Malik. And,
wow.
For Malik El Shabazz, but I'm Malik Ishmael. So I just wanted to kind of give you that personal.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, sir. Man, if you think about how many people, changed their lives because of the example of Malcolm X, man. Ooh, man.
Oh yeah.
You got so many, probably millions, literally.
Wow.
But yeah, so going back to Chairman Fred and the Black Panther Cubs, man, that's a relationship that's been ongoing for 2 decades. I would say, man, even when I was at San Francisco State as a college student, that was the time when Chairman Fred Jr. was unleashed after serving, those 9 years on a bogus charge post the Rodney King rebellions, and so we actually had him set up to come speak at we were going to do like a prison industrial complex conference at SF State, and that was early on where I learned like how some of these political forces are very threatening to the state, because we had all the money hooked up and everything. Next thing you know, we got that call, our whole event was canceled. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that was going to be one of his first speaking events, kind of since he was unleashed in, again, 2001. So we first touched down a couple years after that here in the Bay Area. Of course, as Oakland and Chicago are kind of considered like sister cities, with Oakland being the birthplace of the party, but then Chicago had the largest chapter membership wise, and so the PLCC, which is with Black Panther Party Cubs earlier iteration in terms of the name, was very active here in the Bay, and so Chairman will come out here a lot. We first linked up during the campaign of the Free the SF8, if you recall. The case of San Francisco 8 elders, mostly party members, but also some other comrades, grandfathers essentially, that were recharged on a 30-year-old trumped up murder charge, of a police officer. And so when that happened, and the reason why they were brought back on trial or brought on recharges 30 years later is because the initial charges were thrown out because the confessions were given under torture. Well, now post Patriot Act, now torture is legal, so they brought that case back up, which was totally bogus. But essentially, me and my crew made a song called "Free the SF8," and part of the deal was Chairman Fred was reaching out, essentially saying, within what they had, the code of culture, the PLCC or BPPC code of culture, which is essentially was challenging artists and entertainers and just people in general, creatives, to tune in some of the political campaigns into the music and to take it a step further and actually get involved. And so that's what we did with the SF8 campaign, the Free the SF8 campaign, and really it's been on ever since. Number of different works we've done all over the world, really, from working with families whose loved ones were victims of police terrorism, which has been tons of cases, to education. I think every school I've ever worked at, I've had, the chairman come in and speak. There's been a lot of works, that we've done together, and I'm always just humbly, humbled to work with the organization, you know what I mean? And under the leadership of Chairman Fred, it's made me who I am as a freedom fighter, no doubt.
Right on, man. And carrying that legacy forward, man, is so important as well.
No question.
Man, you got a fantastic YouTube channel. I mean, sometimes artists have the same song. You got a catalog, man, of just all this video representation. Talk about your YouTube channel, man, because it's outstanding.
Right on. I appreciate that. We've had to do some work to kind of, make sure that it's presented the right way. It's just so interesting these days, Brother Ishmael Malik, because for me, back in the day, it's like you might have like one video every couple of years and like, wow, I got a video, right?
Right.
Nowadays, YouTube is so important. You got to have a video dang near for every song. So even right now to Srv the PPL album, we have 3 videos out. Right. And we got about 3 or 4 more coming for the album. You know what I mean? And so, definitely shout out to all my directors and camera people I've worked with. A lot of times I'll write what's called the treatment for the video. So I'll have the vision of how I want the video to go. And then I'll get with the technical folks to make it happen. You know what I mean? And so a lot of collaboration involved in that process, but it's so important to have the visual representation these days. Because again, with the attention deficit, you know what I mean, that's out there, it's like if you don't have a visual representing your content, you're probably not going to get heard or seen, right? And so we really recognizing how important that is, and so there's been a lot of investment in that. So definitely appreciate the fact that the folks are watching. The numbers have been looking great, and I'm thankful for that, because it's hard to break through this algorithm, because you can have the best content out there, the most quality stuff, but if the algorithm isn't working in your favor, then you're not going to get seen or heard by those who need to see and hear you. So I'm always appreciative when folks are able to tap in. Oh,
right on, man. And tell people, how can people get Srv the People, get the album? I downloaded it on iTunes. How can people get your album?
No doubt, it's available on all those streaming platforms. So if you're on, whatever it may be, the Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all that stuff, it's all under there. YouTube as well. So it's Ras Ceylon, Ceylon, and then 2 Srv the People, Srv spelled SRV, and then People spelled PPL. You can get it everywhere there. So all the streaming sites and anywhere where you buy music, you should be able to find it. And pretty soon, I was hoping to have it already, we're going to have physical copies on the website on rasceylon.org, which we're in the process of kind of revamping as well. And so eventually we'll have CDs, tapes, and vinyl of the album. And so we're working on that, right? Back in the days, believe it or not, I used to be one of those dudes that would stand in front of the store with my CD. Man, I used to sell so many CDs out the trunk. It was crazy, brother. Like, and so
that's how MC Hammer did it, right?
Man, I'm telling you, Hieroglyphics did it out here. A whole bunch of cats, especially in the Bay Area, out the trunk. That's Bay Area hip hop. Oh, yeah. And so that's kind of what we used to do. But obviously, things have moved away from the physical and moved more to the digital. But we know that people still want it. I've had people ask me for all 3 of those, for vinyl, for CDs, and for tapes. And so recognizing that, these products are still valued by people, and they're almost like collector items now. So we definitely want to have those available for the people. So that should be in the coming months. Okay.
And how can people reach out to the Black Panther Party Cubs?
Definitely. I would say one of the best ways to do it, I mean, you can find Chairman Fred on the social media pages. But I would say tune in on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Wednesdays is Free 'em All Radio. It's literally every Wednesday Central 6:30 Central Time, 4:30 to 6:30, and basically it's on YouTube. It's on all social media. Education program hosted by Chairman Fred Jr. And basically, I think that's a good way for folks to get started because every week you're getting an update of kind of where things are at and different issues and different campaigns that the organization is engaging in.
Okay.
They could also check out the website, savethehamptonhouse.org, savethehamptonhouse.org. That's been one of the major campaigns of the BPPC has been to save and preserve the Hampton House, which is 804 South 17th in Maywood, and that was the home that Chairman Fred Sr. grew up in. And it's now a headquarters. It's a museum. It's basically a people's base. It's a wonderful place, man. That's actually where I spent most of summer of 2020 working on the Save the Hampton House campaign. So definitely check out savethehamptonhouse.org. Definitely tune in to Free 'em All Radio every Wednesday.
Yeah, right
Sure.
on, man. And what are your future plans, man? What some things you got in the works coming up?
Man, it's crazy. I had so much going on up until this weekend. Now I'm like, I can exhale a little bit. You know, we still are in the midst of the Black Solidarity Week, which is a community ready course. CRC puts it together. So that starts on February 17th with Minister Huey's birthday, and it ends February 21st with the assassination date of El Haj Malik Shabazz. And so I do have a few more videos coming. I got a new project called Jacket Full of Medals with brother Timbo King from Wu-Tang. And we got a new visual that we shot out in Denver, Colorado. That should be coming out hopefully next week. I have my new video called The Resolution with Perfect Gitamani out of Jamaica. That's circling right now. We do have some more live performances coming up, but also I got to start getting ready for this next gig because you might have seen the announcement or whatever, but I'll be moving on up, so to speak, in this education field and becoming a head of school pretty soon. Matter of fact, this summer. So a lot of what I'm going to be focusing on a little bit is getting ready for that because I'm be moving to East Oakland and getting ready to do this work. You know.
Beautiful, man. So proud of you, man. And just a real quickly before we end here, man,
All good.
you have to me it's like a poetic libation to our ancestors, revolutionary lyrics. How has the world of Rasta influenced you? Because it's definitely an influence.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
In many ways, in addition to some of the political consciousness, Rasta was my first spiritual consciousness and awakening, right? Where growing up in Southern Cali, being infatuated by the gang culture that was all around me, that's what I was into. And it wasn't until meeting some Rastafarians in Santa Ana in my young age, like 14, 15, that these were the brothers that kind of showed me a different way, gave me a path to have a higher consciousness, And so early on, like in my teenage years, kind of embracing the tenets and philosophies of Rastafari was very crucial in my development. And then later on in life, traveling to places like Jamaica and linking up particularly with my brother Sizzla Kalungi, who is a very significant, Rasta reggae artist. It just had a great impact on what I do. Even to this day, much of the music, the concerts I'll do, I'll be the only hip hop artist in the midst of a bunch of reggae artists, you know what I mean? Because the Rasta consciousness is still in my music, even if it's in a hip hop form. And so it's respected by that crowd. But yeah, man, Rastafari is a spiritual movement, and even for me, like, I took my Shahada about 8 years ago, and became Muslim. But that didn't separate me from my Rastafarian loved ones. You know what I mean? Many of them had love for that and understand that there's a certain discipline that goes with it, right? Because again, it's a spiritual way of life. It's not necessarily religious. So it's all balanced out to me. I mean, the first Rastas, they were originally followers of Marcus Garvey, and then they saw Haile Selassie being crowned in Ethiopia and took that as a sign. And so, if you look at the works of Bob Marley, the works of Peter Tosh, in many ways, the works of Sizzla, this is all fomenting change. It's coming out of Jamaica. It's got that certain culture and flavor to it, but it's really revolutionary. So, that's why I want to shout out my brother Anthony B, who just, we did this concert on Friday, and he strategically wanted to do in Oakland. He called me up and said, "Look, I'm doing this Black and Proud concert series, right, for the month of February, where it's about Black and Proud, like, representing that, you know what I mean?" And that's something I think is particularly of a love for Africa, and Afrocentricity is something that's always been a part of Rastafari culture. And Anthony B, he recognized, like, Oakland is an important place. They're in New York next Saturday, so if anybody's hearing this, if you're in the New York City area, definitely check out the Black and Proud concert Saturday, February 25th at Club Al Mazura in Queens. Man, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. And so, yeah, and it was really nice, man, because Chairman Fred was able to come out, and some of the other comrades, I was able to introduce them to some of my roster brothers. And so, and Chairman got on stage with me and, was giving a free and all salute to the people, man. So I always love that when we can bridge those gaps and cross those cultures, man. It's always a beautiful thing because, in the spirit of internationalism, right? Whether it's the party, that's worldwide, man. The work with Garvey, man. You see that red, black, and green flying all over the planet. You know what I mean? So we're just trying to continue on the legacy, man, and add on, because the conditions that we're living in, as you know, brother, it's not good, And so anything we could do to help uplift the people and show a better way, we're gonna be all for it. Whether that's through the music, whether that's through education, whether that's through organizing, man, we all hands on deck,
Right on, man. We got about a minute to go, but give your information how the people can follow you on social media and make contact with you.
For sure, definitely. I'm out there. Try to make it simple. Everything is under one name, so it's all at RASCEYLON. That's Ras Ceylon. Y'all can just DM me, man, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I even had to make a TikTok because there was a fake Ras Ceylon on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some cat out my name and face, everything. So I'm the real Ras Ceylon on TikTok. I don't be on there too much, but yeah, folks could definitely reach out. As Brother Malik mentioned, check out the YouTube channel. We got a lot of good content. We're constantly uploading there. So yeah, man, I just appreciate the fact to be able to chop it up with you, and knowing that your audience is in tune and looking for some good stuff. So hopefully they find it with to serve the people and what else we got coming.
Right on, man. Well, it's been a pleasure, brother. Keep up the great work you're doing, brother. And I want to salute you. All power to the people. Panther power to the Vanguard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All power to the people. Free them all. Definitely appreciate you too, brother. This is an important show, the Vanguard Show. I'm just honored to be on the show, knowing the kind of guests you have, and the fact that you reached out to me, man, is humbling. It really does mean a lot. So just know what you're doing is very important too. Like, we can't, any of us, right? Like, nobody can do what we do without each other. That Ubuntu, like, it really is meaningful. And it's one thing for us as artists to put it out there, but it's really, it's up to those who have platforms such as this show to be able to showcase us. We really depend on that. So much gratitude, brother. Appreciate you.
Oh, much appreciation, brother. Well, you take care, man. I'll talk to you soon.
No doubt. Free them all.
Free them all. Right on.